Hi there, I'm Vincent Boss and I provide dating and self-improvement advice. And in today's podcast, we're going to be discussing dumper memory loss. I provide audio and email coaching to help people try and get their ex back or get a new girlfriend or boyfriend. Check out my website for more details, www.dateme.tips. Please check your spam and junk folders if you are expecting an email from me. So now let's get back into today's podcast, and today we are discussing dumper memory loss. So if you've been dumped and you want to try to get your ex back, one of your biggest fears is naturally that your ex might forget you. And that's completely understandable, because something I suggest you implement if you want to try to get your ex back after you've been dumped is that you use my version of the no contact rule. And my version of the no contact rule states that you should never contact your ex again unless they contact you first. If you want to understand and learn more about my version of the no contact rule, then subscribe to my podcasts and ring that bell for notifications. I've done lots of podcasts on that very subject. But today we're discussing dumper memory loss, and we're talking about how dumpies are worried that the dumper, their ex, will suffer some type of memory loss and somehow forget who they are if they are not continually contacting them. So let's look at the alternatives to using my version of a no contact rule. And that is, of course, to contact them. Now, if you've been dumped, then your ex is basically saying to you, at this point in time, I no longer want to be with you romantically. In fact, I quite possibly don't want to be with you in any way, shape or form right now. So if somebody has actually said this to us in their own way, in their own words, if they have ended a relationship, then we need to understand as a dumpy that they have a very low level of romantic emotional attraction for us right now. And what we need to do is try to grow that level. Okay, now what can we do to make that level drop even further? Well, I'll tell you. That is disrespecting their ideas, disrespecting their thoughts, disrespecting what they're trying to say to you, and not listening. So they've made a decision that they no longer want to be with you in a relationship. And if you are thinking to yourself, well, look, I'm going to try to reason with you, I'm going to try to beg, plead, you're not listening to them. You're not respecting the breakup. You're not listening to their decision. You're not respecting their thoughts. And what do you think that is going to do to somebody who is already thinking quite lowly of you? Well, it's going to lessen their feelings towards you even more. So when you look at it like this, you don't have an option. You don't have a choice. If you've been dumped and you want to try to get your ex back, you want to be trying to grow that attraction. You can't be ruining your chances by lessening it even more. And you will be doing so if you continually contact your ex. If you bombard them with messages, knock on their door, wait outside their work, send them a grand gesture through the post, you are more likely to get blocked and maybe even have your authorities get in touch with you and put a restraining order on you. I have heard stories like this. Please don't make that mistake. So if you understand all of this and you think, okay, I get this, I've got to go no contact, I have no option. But I'm still worried that they will forget me. If I'm not in their life all the time, then why won't they forget me? Tell me why. And this is the point of this podcast. This is a way to try to alleviate those fears you have. And what I want you to do is think back to your school days. I don't mean your high school days. I don't mean your secondary school days. I mean your primary school days. I mean when you was at school, when you was 5, 6, 7 years old. Okay, think back to them and think of the memory. Now, I'm pretty sure that you will be able to think of a memory 5, 6, 7 years old when you was at school. And I'm pretty sure in that memory will be somebody that you no longer speak with. Okay, they're probably somebody who was no more than an acquaintance at school. A school friend you knew for a couple of years and then you drifted apart and you've not spoke to them in 10, 20, 30, 40 years since. Okay? Now, you can still remember this. You can still remember this thought that's in your mind. And you was not romantically involved with this person. You have no real connection to them, other than you can remember the stories and the incidents and the experiences you shared at school. So what about when you were in a romantic relationship with somebody? That is 100 times more powerful than any school acquaintance that you haven't spoke to in 20, 30, 40 years. Okay, that is a lot more powerful, magical, important. You was a very important in your ex's life. You are part of their life journey. You're part of their past, and you will always remain part of them in some respect. Yes, you might be at the back of their mind. You might be in their back pocket, so to speak. But you are there. You are part of them. You are part of their story. Once romance gets involved, once there is intimacy, once memories are shared on this deep level, You will never forget that person. And that is why I want to tell you that if you implement my version of a no contact rule, you have no fear of them forgetting you. There is no 100% guaranteed way to get your ex back, but if you do everything right, then you will start to grow the romantic emotional attraction in your ex's mind once more. And if you do this correctly, if you raise it to the sufficient level, they will one day reach out to you again. Now, this could take days, weeks, months, years, decades, and in some instances, it never happens. But if it doesn't happen, it's not because they forgot you, it is because you never raised the level high enough. And that, unfortunately, would be because it had dropped too far, it had dropped too low because of the relationship, the breakup, and the aftermath. Consider all of these things as the reason for why your ex is not contacting you, not because they forgot you. They will never forget you. You was part of their life, you was part of their history. You are always going to be imprinted in their mind. If you can remember distant acquaintances from decades ago that you was not in love with, but imagine what somebody will be thinking if it's only been a few weeks, months, or even years when they did love you. Love is so powerful, it will always remain in the memory. They won't forget you. And you should have no fear about implementing my version of a no contact rule. If you do so and you never get your ex back, then please don't worry that it's because they've forgotten you. It is simply because there was too much damage done during the aftermath of the breakup. When you consider the relationship as a whole, then the breakup, then the aftermath, if everything lowered their level too low, then what you were trying to achieve might not be possible. But in most instances, it is. And if you want to learn more tricks, tips, hints, and ideas about how you can grow that romantic emotional attraction in your ex's mind that they feel for you and how you can grow it without contacting them, then make sure you subscribe. Make sure you ring that bell for notifications, because I drop lots of podcasts, I do live streams, I support people in as many ways as I can. And if you do everything right, you stand an excellent chance of one day hearing from your ex again. At that stage, you can begin to rebuild your connection, regrow a new relationship with them into something much, much stronger. People are fearful and thinking, you know what, even if I do hear from my ex again, it might be something very, very small. It might just be a breadcrumb. Well, look, I am a coach who believes in breadcrumbs. I believe that you can grow a huge tree from an acorn. So don't be afraid if you receive very little from your ex. If you hear anything at all from your ex, you can regrow this if you wish. Make sure you subscribe. Make sure you ring that bell. And always remember that with or without your ex, you will have a positive future. If you believe that this podcast has helped you, then please consider buying me a coffee. The link to do so is in the description.
Yeah, if you miss your ex, we can help with that. Help you get him back, or we can help find you someone else. Yeah, Vincent Bo, the relationship coach, giving you some insight, bringing you a new approach. DateMe.tips, go and check the site, giving you advice, helping with your love life. Get your ex back, or move to the next. Ain't no sweat, you know Vincent Bo got you. Finding love ain't no problem. Yeah, DateMe.tips, check it out now.